Hi, good morning. Today is, Mike, what is today? Let me check. Today is actually March 12th, and I just did something I haven't done in years. What the fuck time is it? It is 9:30 in the morning. I just took a couple hits off of a joint. It's very rainy here. It's actually, that's a lie. It's not very rainy. It's very overcast. It's been raining the last day or so. Hold on one second. Let me situate the phone. Okay. So I feel like I've been doing videos a lot and not posting. Um I don't know. I feel like I'm in a lull. Lull. Anyways, I was doing a lot of creating the last week or so. And when that flow stops, let me just put it this way. When that flow comes and I'm in the creative flow, right? It's like a channel and it's addictive. More addictive than any drug I have ever done in my life. It's almost like meditation can become addictive. I haven't really meditated either, which, is all, everything is flowing perfectly. And it's not like I'm complaining. I'm just noticing my behavior and trying to navigate through it. I'm like, this is life unfolding, right? So as I'm navigating this life of being single, being under immense stress these last months because of the stalking and the privacy confirmation. And navigating that and, trying to resume a normal life, even though these people are still in my life because it's a certain atmosphere, right? As far as I know, I've taken the steps. I've ceased, a penetration, if you will, into the privacy of my own home. Am I 100% sure? No. Nope. So do I act as if, I'm still being watched? Yes, I do. But which didn't really change much anyways from my normal daily life, because I would talk to my best friend for a long time and tell her I feel like I'm being watched, but I can't figure out how. And gosh, that happened way back. I think I started feeling like I was being watched the moment I moved into this place, or very shortly thereafter, which is interesting. I don't know where this is going, so I'm just gonna roll with it. So hang on. So I moved in here in September of 24, and I would be out on the patio having a beer because, right, I had been sober and I decided not to be sober. There's a little magic hair flip. Decided not to be sober. And I'd be on the phone with my friends out on my patio, and I would feel like somebody was listening to me. Now, whether or not that was true, don't know. It doesn't matter. It's a feeling, and perhaps that was a premonitional feeling, right? Because I have been granted with the gifts of, spiritual gifts, confirmation. I love when shit like that happens. So I feel like I've been being watched in this home pretty much since I moved in. Now, the timing I could be off on, and I'm open and willing to admit wrong, defeat, whatever. Like, my God, I'm not perfect. So why was I talking about this? It always boils down to the trauma. And I want to say that with a T and a D at the same time, to drama, because it is trauma and it is a drama. There is a bigger picture to this collective group of people. There is something deeper. I don't want to get into it on the video. Anyways, I don't know why I started talking about that, but I'm living my life as authentically as I can. That's why, while knowing that I've been being watched in my home, and I mean my phone. It's interesting that lately my phone has not this one, the old one, um, has not been draining as quickly. Those of you who have had your phone hacked, you know when something is fucked up on your phone, it doesn't act right. The battery drains very quickly. In the background, right? I have an iPhone. I have iPhones. Um, you know when your phone is not acting normal. My God, I've had iPhones. That's like, once I had an iPhone when they first started coming out, I never went back. I have had a couple of different phones in between that time, but one I returned immediately, and I don't know what. I don't. Anyways, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. You, the owner of the phone knows when their phone is not acting right, and when I start seeing from an email from this location, right, and it's like that, I didn't have my email up whatsoever. So things in the back, there's things, proof, undeniable proof, right, among other things. So I'm trying to live my life as authentically normally as I can. And so I decided to say, hey, it's fucking rainy-ish. And I'm gonna have a couple of tokes off of a joint. I've been feeling stuck creatively a little bit because I did a lot of recordings from the writings I have done over the last weeks. Hold on one second. Okay, and I don't know. I feel like I'm not in a creative rut. I'm in a creative swing. I guess it's and sometimes because I do, I write the poems, I write the song lyrics, I write the novels, I do the music, because I do so many different things creatively, I'll be in a flow of one thing, right? Like I've been doing the two-liner rhyme poem thing for like 2-3 weeks now. And I love it because it's quick and it just flows, right? But so it is song lyrics. Like I was at the piano last night and played a little ditty, and it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I'll have to go back and listen to it. But then I started hearing the words, right? So then I seriously would love to learn how to write left-handed or figure out something. I need to figure out, that's the thing, something where I can write lyrics at the same time on something I don't have to unlock my iPhone or whatever. I'll have to figure this out. Because what happens is, I'm playing, right? I think of the song lyrics, so then I have to stop because I have to get paper and write. So there should be something where I could say blah, 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 phone, I don't know, apparatus is a big word I'm using lately. Don't know why. Apparatus. I'm like, what the fuck is the definition of that? And an appendage was another one. So for me to do that, I'll have to think of something better to create. Anyway, so then I sat down and I started writing the lyrics because I wasn't able to piece them together as I can sometimes, but not always, okay? That's the creative whatever. Injustice. I'm like, yeah, it's a creative injustice to not be able to do it together. But it's fun when they do come together. And then writing a novel is a different energy, right? It's different. So I do have an idea for, well, oh my God, I have several. I feel bad because I've left my characters in the, I'll just say it's the secret land. And I'll occasionally talk to them, be like, I know you're still there. I do think about my characters. Um, I mean, not obsessively, usually. Um, and how I've left them in precarious situations, fending for their life in these lands, or, like mythical, magical lands, or everyday lands where they're, struggling for their life. Um, I like the fluidity of writing, and the way that the brain and the imagination, like when I write, it's like I see it. I can picture it, like a movie. When I read, it's like it's the same way. I'm pretty sure. For somebody who loves to write, I don't read often, and authors, I've heard them say, well, if you're gonna be an author or a writer, then you need to read all the time. I don't put that pressure on myself. I don't. I love to read, but there's so many things in my life that are shifting. Excuse me, burp confirmation. That what used to work for me, especially oh my God, I read so much in high school. um I was the kid at lunch with, like, buried in her Stephen King book, right? um I was around people, I socialized, I sat with, a social group, but I was in my book, um which was cool that people accepted me. I never thought of it that way, but people, like, accepted me, as I was doing what I was doing. Nobody ever said, what are you fucking reading a book for? Or maybe they didn't. Maybe I forgot. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really fucking matter, right? But whichever side of that is true, and perhaps it's both, don't recall. Um, but how cool is it of me to feel so confident and so whatever that I was reading instead of socializing. Um, but as I often do in most situations where, nowadays, obviously it's my phone, right? My phone's always handy. So I might be involved in my phone or doing whatever I'm doing, but I'm still, like, around people in a social way. I don't have to be actively engaged, I guess. Like, I don't feel obligated to be actively engaged. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I want to be a part of. Sometimes I just don't give a fuck. That's the fluidity of life, and that ties back into, like, the fluidity of being creative. Um, and I guess right now is what's happening is I'm in a transition period of creativity, which I can go sit at the piano, plunk out some things, probably create the same thing I've created a few times. So I also need somebody who can compose. Like, I love to create music, but for me to go back and, like, write it out with sheet music and, like, put it together, um that's the part I need help with. And it's not that I'm incapable of learning. There's a component to creativity for me. Once I start getting technical with something, it loses, the magic shifts a little bit. It's the best I can maybe correlate it to, is take away the music part and go back to novels. And when you're creating, you're just, like, flowing, right? And, like, oh, okay, this works, this doesn't work, or you just keep going because you're gonna fucking edit it anyways, right? You just know it's a rough draft. You could write the worst shit, whatever. Like, there's no judgment. It just is pure flow. So when you go back and you do your edit, it's more like critical thinking. You have to really, kind of pay attention a little bit. You can't just be, like, spewing what the fuck ever, if you want more of a polished product. It'd be interesting to put out a first draft. I do that a lot with the poems I write. Usually it's one run through and fucking done. And I don't mean run through as in read it and, speak it in video. I mean one through as in, creation. And some of them I have done create, read, post. which is so cool for me to do that, because I used to have to feel like before I even learned something, I would have to know how to do it, which made no logic, still doesn't make any logical sense. How can you know how to do something if you don't learn how to do it? And I think that falls in line. There's a squirrel or maybe a gopher outside the window that caught my attention. I think the creative process it shifted my thinking. I apologize. The squirrel changed my mind. It really is the simplest of things that shift us sometimes, right? Very interesting. So the flow, I apologize that I don't know where I left off, and I wish on these videos that I could go back, like rewind, like, and pick up kind of like you can on the voice recordings. I think you can edit them a little bit better, but I don't know how to do it. If there is a way, then sorry, Apple, I completely judged you. And if there's not a way, then y'all need to make a way that I can like go back. And if I want to like write over like the video I'm doing currently, then I can do that. Like a like an in edit, whatever. So, creativity and flow and weed smoking and stalking, and I'm like backtracking. My life, like, I know this is going to be a complete shift, perhaps, but my life, like, it just blows my mind almost every day. See, I'm starting to come out of that fight or freeze, PTSD, trauma response with all of the stalking, because I mean, I feel the steps I have taken spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, did I say intellectually? The steps I've taken, intuitionally, divine guidance, divine protection, have allowed me a certain level of peace. And like I said, I don't know if it's 100% proof. But it's really interesting that the way that my mind, my thinking, I shifted. I worked through this shit I posted. This is a whole nother video I made the other day, but this is the fucking truth of it. Is going through this, I was able to work through spiritually, mentally, emotionally, I guess physically too, right? I was able to work through the trauma in real fucking time. In real time as it's unfolding. And that to me is the most incredible example of growth. Because, going back years ago when I first started trauma therapy, which I didn't even know was trauma therapy, right? It was through word of mouth that I found this most incredible angel on earth, therapist who changed my life and no doubt hundreds of other lives. That I would work through trauma. As I've been told, I sat on the couch the first 6 months, said my life was great, everything was like basically hunky-dory, when indeed it was not. I mean, my life had not been great for a long time, for a very long time. Even though at that point in time in my life, I had just gotten, just a year and a half, maybe a little bit more or less. I think just 2 years. Yeah, 2 years sober, because I got sober in August of 2010. I really had to think about that for a minute. 8/14/2010 was my sobriety date, and it stayed that way all the way through September of 24. Which this is really taking a weird turn, but maybe it needs to. So welcome to Life Unfolding. No, I'm not sad I gave up my sobriety. And this is a very personal decision, and anybody who is in addiction, um, who struggles with sobriety, um, I'm trying to figure out a gentle, softer way to say this, but my journey is not for everybody. This is my personal journey. And when I heard of my friends years ago who had been addicted to pain pills, so who were in similar situations, who drank, I was like, oh my God, wait, what? You're not sober? You're drinking? Like what? Like I was flabbergasted. I couldn't understand it. I was like, that would never be me. Well, I mean, never say never, because, you know, everyone has their own journey. I can respect that on a different level now because I'm at a different place in my life now in every capacity. So if you're in the sober realm, take this with a grain of salt. And, you know, if you're new in the program, I encourage you to reach out to your sponsor if you don't have one, a sober support, if this is something that may be triggering for you. But for me, I have gained the emotional awareness capacity, all the capacities, on every level that I feel healthy, where I wanted to drink socially, wanted to smoke weed, take gummies. This has been a very exciting journey for me. And one that I had been using to escape on a certain level, because when one is going through trauma, like stalking, excuse me, then, you know, I would come home and I would be like, I just need to breathe. Because being in an atmosphere where that's, you know, you're being attacked and you're it's, I don't want to go into explaining how physically, mentally, emotionally, what that does to your body, but anyone who goes through trauma knows kind of what it does. So I needed some level of, and plus doing the weed, whatever form it comes in, it allows me a deeper connection without going into meditation. Because I'll tell you what, I'm sure during these months back, if I laid down and tried to meditate, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, my mind already goes, right? A lot. So for me to meditate, a lot of the time, it takes a while. So I do the guided meditations. So regardless if it was guided or not, and by the way, shout out to Kelly Howell, because I love Kelly's brain sync, and that's, I don't know, that's what I've been listening to for years. And I thought I don't have Tweeter. I don't have Twitter, X, whatever, Space X, whatever the fuck it's called now. I don't have that anymore, but she friended me. It was the coolest thing years back. I don't even know how that happened, and it was her official thing. So thanks, sister. I always just likened it to like a God thing that somehow she came across me. This is when I had my Soul Reader book. Around that time, Soul Reader came out. So what the fuck was I talking about? Weed and needing that breath. Now I feel like I'm in a spot where I can meditate. Before, when I was having my spiritual awakenings, August, September of 24, and I was meditating, I was actually, I think it starts like, it's prana, excuse me, I forget the exact word, but it's where you actually cease to breathe. But I would wake up and I would be gasping, you know, for air, like I hadn't been breathing. And I was doing some researching, and, you know, especially the experiences I was having at that time. I mean, like, look it up. It's pretty profound. And I don't know, Ascended Master, I don't know why that's coming to mind, but I think that was part of the research I found on it. I don't know, like, what that means. I don't feel like an ascended master by any means, but so back to the weed thing. I tried something new today, and yeah, I don't need to be high all day, but I was curious about it. So hopefully the sun will come out today, and hopefully this video made sense to somebody. I feel like I should end on a more positive note other than like smoking weed in the morning and some kind of like meditation thing. I guess the message, as always, is about this self-discovery. And, you know, I always look at, I talk about the stalking thing a lot because obviously, I mean, my God, like I would say all the time, if you would have said what my life would have been like months ago, I would have been like, you fucking crazy. There's no way. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like, yeah, I would have never in my life expected this to happen to me. But I kind of did ask for my most spiritual, highest timeline, right? And if any of you do that, if you ask for, you know, the most spiritual, highest timeline that you can get, you better fucking hang on. Because I got it, and can't say I'm sorry to myself, because I'm not. What these people have done in the 3D is so incredibly awful. But at the same time, it's allowed me to become my most highest version of myself. So it's like these relationships are incredible, and one in particular that I'm more connected to because I see beyond the realm of 3D. And somebody posted, I guess I'm not ready to go, so here we go. Somebody posted a TikTok the other day about living in duality, and that's exactly what I experience most of the time, is living in duality. And what that means is, like, I can see both sides. I can see the 3D of things. I could see the 5D, the spiritual, whatever, I mean, call it whatever you want, right? And that can make things difficult sometimes, because I really struggle with, how could I possibly forgive these people, this one person's behavior in particular? How can I forgive that? And, you know, I just can. I see myself in this person. There's more than one, but I see myself in this person to a degree that I've never seen myself reflected in another person before. And I understand things on such a level that I wonder if this person even like gets it. But I feel that this person is incredibly intelligent, incredibly smart, incredibly witty, hides a lot of themselves, disguises a lot of themselves. I kind of see through the whole thing on a level that I didn't know I could. With more than one person, though. Anyways, for me to forgive, it doesn't mean that I forget the behavior. It doesn't. It's a weird spot. This is a really, 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 really weird spot to be in. Yeah, I don't know what the words are for it. That's why I'm really trying to find the words. But to be able to forgive somebody who's done things to me, but to be able to understand in a way, because I don't know the whole narrative, the whole story. But I don't know. It's so hard to describe. But if you've gone through something like it, then you can identify with what I'm saying. I cannot be the only person to go through something difficult, but also hold this weird, compassionate knowing that is a blessing and a curse. Ignorance is bliss, they say. And maybe somebody was right about that. But at the same time, I wouldn't trade this life and these gifts for anything, which ultimately says this whole experience that I've gone through was for my highest and greatest good. So to these individuals who have caused me such great harm, emotionally, mentally, physically, and then some, and have caused me great pain. Yeah, obviously, if you've been in my home, seen, me in my atmosphere, I've cried over this. It's been probably the most difficult thing I've gone through in my life, and that's saying quite a bit. So to have something that intense and then to see the other side of it as intensely, confirmation, and I'm going to wrap this up, is weird. It's weird. So I guess, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of some great guru-ish positive thing to say, and maybe there is nothing to say other than my experience. So this is my experience, and I wish you a good day, and may all your wildest dreams come true, because you are worthy, no matter what the fuck you've done or haven't done in your life. We're all worthy of greatness and love. Most importantly, love. And hopefully you get to experience it on a level that you never have before.